The early research that I was doing was on networking and knowledge transfer and knowledge mobilization. And so this network and the opportunity that exists in the forming of this network, in the experimenting and trying to turn it into something that can be of value to everybody here and other people that we invite in or that can participate with us, is that it's a space where I can take that knowledge that I have, which is often separate from my business ethics, CSR, or SD knowledge, and actually bring that in and contribute it and have it be used and appreciated in a new space. And so as I think about graduating and finding that next job, whatever that may be, I have this network, I have this, forget about the word network, I have this group of people that I can communicate with, that I have a personal relationship with that gets built each time that I see everybody here. And that I can use my knowledge, my knowledge management knowledge, to help support the goals of the network, but also as a PhD student, or as a recent graduate, as a new professional, use the network and the knowledge that exists in that network to help me on my next stage of my life's development, you know, and gain from that. So I see the network as a space for other PhD students to get the support from being in a network with people that are in the same field and help you do your research as a PhD student or get through many of those trials as a PhD student. But for me at this stage, more importantly, it's sort of a base from which I can then step out onto the next stage and learn from that. And I think that that's a very valuable activity for PhD students as they're coming to the end of the PhD and starting the next phase. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions that anyone wants to direct to either these two or any of the other PhD students that are here? Well, maybe this is a dialogue. Do I see? Oh, at the back, sorry. It's almost impossible to see back there. Anyway.
Part of what you're describing, Erica, is in most disciplines, the opportunity to meet other people in the field when you're a student. I mean, for most graduate students, that comes from going to conferences on topics either, if you're in a particular, either in your discipline or topics, special interest topic conferences. And so, I mean, I'm trying to think what it is that CBERN is doing that or could do that isn't already being done by, I mean, is it the fact, why, I mean, I'm just asking, just sort of challenging that in a friendly way, like what is it that you're not, why would you have to turn to CBERN for that? Why wouldn't, my graduate students would go to either, an ethics conference or a philosophy conference or not a network like CBERN. I mean, CBERN's not a research network directly. It's we're still figuring that out, right? We're going to, by about some point, we're going to figure out exactly what. So do you see the gist of my rambling question? Right. So what is it that CBERN could be that an information management conference or an ethics conference wouldn't do for you?
Is this microphone on? Yep. I don't know whether my answer, whether the only way that I can really answer this is through personal experience, and whether my own personal experience will actually shed any real light on how it could be of value to other PhD students. But I find conferences, I go to ASAC, I go to AOM, I go to various other ones, and they're just, as a PhD student, they're in many ways overwhelming, particularly AOM, which does have the very specific interest group or division that is of interest to me, and I read every single person's research there, and these are all the big names, but what am I going to say to any of these people? Hi, I've read all your articles, I think you're really smart. I just feel like such an ass, really, and I'm just overly intimidated to speak to these people, and I'm not the shyest kid on the block, but there's certain challenges in making these connections at conferences. And I've been to other conferences, I've been to knowledge management conferences where I've been involved in the consortiums. And there's something about the smaller groups, the more one-on-one, that helps you break those barriers, and then you get to meet those people. But I haven't stayed in touch with any of those people, whereas I am involved in this network. I think part of the fact that it's already an existing network, and I've in many ways been invited into it and welcomed into participating and contributing, it's now a space where I feel very comfortable to make those contributions and to gain value from it, rather than one of a million at a big conference. I don't know if that answers your question. I don't know.
I can
Sorry.
maybe.
Go ahead.
I can maybe. I see. I see that there's a significant gap here that the network can potentially fill. I don't know where I would go to meet Canadian PhD students interested in sustainability and ethics. Perhaps there's a conferences I'm not familiar with. And even if there was a conference, what I would then want to see is not just meeting in the halls, but I'd like to see a focused space that could be funded by the network, where we get together, we talk about the work that we're doing, we have some social time over dinner, that type of activity.
Sure, Nikki, and I'm not sure who it is, but somebody at the back. I can't see. That's Mary.
Hi, my name's Nikki Black, and whilst being a research fellow at Archers, and I think we'll hear from Malcolm in a little bit, I'm also a PhD student at the University of Waikato in New Zealand. And I just wanted to support one of the things Erica said and something Kevin said. One is that my experience with the PhD process, now that I'm a research fellow as well, is that it's a professionalization process. It's an apprenticeship. And I'm a little greedy, I'm on my 5th university now, but your ability to get a good schooling is not about the courses that are delivered. It's if you want to become an academic or some more engaged practitioner, academics being engaged practitioners, it's the apprenticeship and how able and willing your faculty is to support you in that process. And it ranges. It varies a lot. I was at McGill doing my master's, had great experience. I've been in New Zealand, and I've had different experiences in each of the places, in each of the countries I've been in the graduate process. So I think one of the things that CBUN has to offer is that it exposes you to senior faculty in different universities who are in a similar, could be potentially in a similar, you could be in an apprenticeship position to them, or you could be exposed to different ways of doing things, as well as connecting with other PhD students who are benefiting from different experiences. So I think that mentoring process throughout the network is something that you could look into and I think would be really beneficial. And the second thing is that it's very difficult when you're thinking about the next step to know what's going on. And whilst, as you get more senior, you've built up your own networks, you know what's happening in the field. If you're a PhD student, you read a lot, but as you know, everything you read is out of date, really. It's 2, 3, 5, 10 years out of date. And to be current, to be in the current of the field you're working in, to know where the next thing is coming from, to know what people are thinking about doing 3, 5 years down the line, and to then position yourself to take the next step so that you think, that person's really onto it, and I like the way they work with other people, I like what they're doing, I want to be part of that. How do I put myself in the position for it? Something like CBUN could really help you know what's happening in Canada. And the third thing that I'd like to add, just from my own experience, is the issues we're dealing with are international issues. I focus on the gas industry in Burma. That's an international issue. One of the things I think CBUN can offer is that international dynamic. So if you have international engagement, what's happening elsewhere, then to be a PhD student, to be able to broaden your scope and broaden your sights and engage potentially with other partners in the network would be really good. Those are my
Thanks.
If I could follow up on that, do we have a moment?
No, go ahead.
Okay. I agree with a lot of the things that you were saying, and maybe this helps complete my answer a bit, but I think that the opportunity to meet professionals at the level that we're at the level that us PhD students are at now, and have an opportunity to perhaps work with them and collaborate with them and work on some of their projects or form groups with them that